So this relates to what I've already written this morning, what I wrote it down. Role playing. That's why role playing works. Role playing, you put yourself in the dimension and the feeling of it. Water. Water is bipolar. Water can go to different states of matter. It can freeze. It could be liquid. It could do different things because of the polarity of it, the molecules in it. Human beings are most of the body. Human body is composed of water. Water can do different dimensions, different things. Higher consciousness beings, they don't have water. They have not the power of pain. The power that comes from pain, unless they have experienced great pain and can delve into it, then they are unable to control the element. Emotions. That's why they want emotions. That's why they lost ties with their emotions. But emotions are what could move you through certain frequencies, through certain dimensions. You are unable to move through those frequencies and dimensions unless you have the power and the emotion, the ability to feel that. That's why they can only do so much. That's why human beings are special in that sense, because they can move through high states of high frequencies of bliss, a huge amount of bliss, which with certain entities live in that dimension, and then you can go low, very low and deep sorrow, that's a different dimension of consciousness that has its own abilities to access and to have compassion, to feel the elements. You have to have felt it yourself. You can't share the feeling of something. They can maybe comprehend it and kind of, they actually may be able to feel it, but the power that is earned behind it, the ability to maneuver materiality, to control the material world, can only be done by the entity, the one who felt the pain. Only you can share your story, you can have people can understand and feel your pain, but only the person who felt the pain has the benefit of controlling that dimension, that whatever. The elements have their own consciousness. They feel things. That's why you can put them into. People have made archangels of them. They like being appreciated, just like any being. Like I like being appreciated. They like being appreciated in their contributions to the world, to the existence. It is good to acknowledge them and appreciate them. If you can access them, you could say friends with them. You can listen to them. You can comprehend what they've seen, what they've known. You could, and you access that through any water. Water is associated with feelings, deep feelings. That's what water is, signifies. For fire. Fire is rage. Rage. Sometimes it has its own levels. There's the rage part. You could access that. And then there's the keeping you warm when you're cold. That glow, that's another aspect of fire, but it's all fire, and you can talk to fire, and because you have that emotion, you have felt warmth, you have felt extreme rage. And if you have extreme rage, then you can have the destruction of the fire. You can access that because you just become fire. You become water. You become air. That's how you access different dimensions and things, by just becoming that. You just be in there. You just are. That's why other beings that might have only experience in the higher states of bliss or whatever, or consciousness, that's just the consciousness or vibrations, feelings, emotions. Beings that have only experienced that are unable to become fire. They are unable to become water because they have they have only been in the bliss state. So it is a good, and it may be seem good or bad, because it, it might be a negative or a positive to be. Some people wish for they were in bliss states but they aren't able to control the. And if you can control your emotions, which is what puts human beings, the emotions control your state of being, your dimension, where you're at. If you can control that, and on top of that, you've experienced with your own body, your own self, that feeling, that emotion, that state, then only you have the ability to control it. Once your body goes, that's it. Your physical body is the one that has the ability. The body that felt it is the one that earns that. You can't take in another animal's, as far as I know, another animal's pain and grow. You could get maybe some of it, but you may be able to get some sort of energy, but the control of it will never be. That can only be, that is the gain, and what is not seen, that is gained through pain. But the other thing is that the knowledge is not being spread, it's not being shown to people, that there is the benefit of the pain is that you can control that emotion. If you can wield that emotion, then you have the benefit of the pain is that you own that emotion. You control that dimension once you have experienced that pain. But now, for today, people just experience the pain and they don't know, okay, I just experienced pain, what's the benefit of it? Well, now you know the benefit of it. And emotions are associated with different elements. Feelings, water, water, deep waters, deep feelings, deep emotions, that kind of thing, water. And most of our bodies are water, and that's why the whole thing about accessing different dimensions, because the water is bipolar, and water changes states. That's why human beings are like that. We're bags of water, like Star Trek, like they said in a Star Trek episode. We are just bags of water. I'm a beautiful bag of water, though, so there. And with bags of, water can freeze, water can be liquid, it could be mist, clouds, and that's the beauty of water, that it could do all those things. And we have earth element inside of us too. We have crystals. We have earth, and that element, earth, mineral. That has its own, they have their own dimension, they hold information. That's why crystals, you can talk to them, they know stuff. And I think they want to be social, they like to be appreciated, understood. And you could talk to them. They, perhaps, but they might not have the ability, crystals might not have the ability to feel pain, or maybe they don't have like emotions like we do. So then they can only access so much. But human beings, our bodies are made out of so many different elements, and that's what, when they say that we're the galactic mutts or something, I've heard that, which is a good thing, because it's not, maybe, I don't know, maybe part of it might have been lab created. However, once the creator took over it, once it was no longer a lab created and it ran its own course, nature, the creator, nature is the creator's intelligence of the highest kind. Once it runs its course, once, I don't know what happened with humans, they've spliced something, but then nature took over, creation took over us, and all the mud elements, the crystals that are in our body, the water, the air molecules, and so many different things going on in there that our bodies are composed of. has given us the ability to access different dimensions, like different reaches of dimensions. That's, if you imagine, like it's like a connection. It's the connection. It's what connects all the other dimensions, because the other dimensions are like way up there or way down there or really left or right or something. So they can't talk to each other. I mean, it's very rare where human beings have all the different elements to be able to reach. They can go left, right, however, if you can, if once they know that they can do that, that's why what makes human beings special. And but the thing is that being a human being is not easy, because in order to have that power, that control, to access that, you have to have felt the pain. You can't just I think, even if I don't even I don't know if different lives have anything to do with it. Perhaps that could be, the consciousness of the person could go move into another body. Perhaps that's how it works. But the thing is that most entities don't want to experience this amount of pain and sorrow, because it's not fun. It can be, actually. It can be fun. You can experience pain at a higher level of consciousness, knowing that this is all an experience in a game, and that you're here to earn those coins like you would in a video game. But the more pain you have felt, the more sorrow, the more control you have over that element or emotion. And the lifetime that you're in takes precedence. If you have felt huge amounts of pain in this lifetime, even though somebody else has had other lifetimes of pain, that somehow equals out. So the current life has precedence, holds, because it's physicality. So air is a, well, fire can move, a breeze can move, the fire moves the breeze, the air, the hot air, the heat. You have heat, you have cold, and that's the thing, that water can live in all these. It could be in like cold water, hot water. Air can also be hot, cold, or we feel it. The thing is that emotions are, and it's related to the way the feelings in our body, the way we feel. Our skin can feel those elements. That's how we know our bodies feel heat, feel cold, feel moisture, dryness. We can sense different things. There's also the ether element. I don't know. And then I don't know if the air is eyesight also. The words that travel through the air. I don't know if the vision has anything to do with the air element as well. Vision, air, and the words that are said can bring it into a vision. And then that way we can access different things like plasma. Plasma for the sun is plasma. We might not have plasma in our bodies, but we can, because of the way our bodies are made, our emotions, we can sense the plasma. We can see it and feel its presence through our bodies. The receptors in our bodies are the DNA. We can taste stuff. That's how we know. Don't eat rotten shit. Something smells bad, that means they're, those are things that our bodies do as well. They know, they have that intelligence for survival. And perhaps some of that involves some of the splices that were put in our bodies. It was for survival, to be able maybe some other entities came here and they needed to, they acknowledged that they needed to figure out how to not get killed here, so they put these things in place to keep us, to make a human being be able to navigate through this world without getting killed. By knowing that I feel this heat, I should probably step away so I don't get burned to death, you know. But in doing that, once the creator took over, or somehow it evolved into that pain that is felt is, you have, that's like a deposit in your, you know, whatever bank account. It can never be taken away, ever. You own that pain. Once you experience that pain, it is yours for eternity. Same thing with bliss and all those states of consciousness and emotion and all that stuff. So some beings, you know, creatorness made everything. There's free will. There's an eternity to experience everything. Some like stay at the high consciousness. They like that. Others like the low consciousness. They like that. They like, some people, some entities like pain. They like that's how, or that's all they know. Perhaps sometimes that may be all they know. Some actually, there are some human beings, some entities, and I know I've had issues that have difficulty feeling, reaching the levels of high bliss, high consciousness, and a lot of it is programming, and that is you know, some smarty pants just figured it out somehow, or was told about it, so they decided, oh, let me control people, so they keep the high levels of consciousness. They keep people at a different states of consciousness, which they can't access. So they can't access that level of but they know that the human beings can. And they know that if human beings were able to access that consciousness, then these, what you would call controlling beings, are meaningless. They have zero power. They are unable to reach that level. The high consciousness has its own control, own elements and things that it has the ability to control. If you can access the bliss, if you have felt bliss, complete bliss, then you own that. But if you have people who have been kind of miserable their entire life, who have been told that feeling bliss, you know, guilty about feeling any type of bliss, then they have not earned that bliss. They aren't able to control it. Once they do reach that, and you reach that through meditating sometimes, or I don't know, it could be something like an orgasm or something, or if for some people it might even be eating something delicious, some delicious food or something, or just drinking a glass of water that is, on a hot day, you just drink that glass of water that is just perfect temperature, that bliss. Or even you're running out of air or something, and then you just get that, you breathe and you feel bliss that you know, somehow bliss could be reached at different levels, depends on different people. But once you have that bliss, that moment of bliss, and human beings, I guess that we can't exist in that high bliss all the time, because then we wouldn't have bodies. We can touch it, pinpoint a little bit, or remain there for short periods of time, but we have our limits also. Our body, you know, we have, as far as I know, we have, and you know, different individuals can be, you know, in the higher states of bliss for longer, and you know, and the same thing with suffering. You know, some beings could be at the suffering point for extended periods of time, and be able to bear it somehow. And then, but they gain all that power from it, and be in states of bliss. So they can navigate wherever they want, and then they are able to control it. But first, you have to have felt it in order to be able to control it. That's why, human beings are kept in these states of mind or whatever. And some of them are even kept in the highest, not, it doesn't have to be that they're kept at the lower states of bliss. It could be that they're kept at the highest states of bliss, as in, just stay here in a monastery. Don't feel pain. Don't feel heartbreak. Just stick with the good people. Pray and happiness and bliss forever and rainbows. Some people are controlled to be kept in that state of mind, to not go, I don't know, for example, don't go into the inner city, don't go into the, I don't know, whatever, into the hood, or don't go here. And then, so they're kept in these, pampered states, pampered or spoiled, I guess, because the word spoiled really is spoiled, because when you give somebody everything, you have spoiled their ability to navigate through these other states that they can have power over, because human beings have it. They actually have the power, they have the ability, all of it, to access all of those emotions and states if they want to. But they're, the programming can, keep them from moving here, or like, oh, I don't want to make a mistake, don't move out of this box, it's a box. Don't, because you could fuck up your whole life if you do this. You're gonna mess up your finances, or whatever it is. The scare tactics, it's scare tactics put in place because we have been given these in order for us to have survival, to have survived in this world. It was needed. You needed to have some sort of boundaries. We can't just go over there and hang out with the lions. They're pretty, and you may want to pet the lion, but you have to have the instinct to know that thing is going to kill you. You have to have certain guidelines, and that's we have our bodies, because whatever they cared for us and or loved us, and didn't want us to get hurt. They wanted to use us, and they didn't want to lose the product that they made. Whatever it is, there were guidelines put in place to our bodies to like feel the pain. It's too hot. Yeah, you need to move away because it's gonna burn. So, but at the same time, those feelings, sensations, have been used against human beings to keep them boxed up, to use those instincts to keep them from going into states of being which are no longer a danger. Maybe in those controls were put in place at a period of a cycle. The way things were aligned, the cycle of whatever alignment thing was going on at the time, they were placed in humanity as controls for to keep human beings alive, for the lifespan, for life to continue. But as human beings have moved through different cycles of alignments of, you could say, time or whatever, things have moved, the spiral going and going. They have moved from one. Things have moved around because things move around every instant. Nothing is ever the same, because if it were the same, then it wouldn't be life. It moves. So the controls were put in place for our safety at a certain time, but the things moved as soon as you put the security things in place. Everything already moved. Like at the second it comes out of my mouth, everything's already changed. So the survival instincts are still in place, but they are no longer, some of them are no longer, so they need to be reevaluated basically. Due to the movements of time and where we're at in positions of where we are at this moment, some of them need to be invalidated, and then other ones might need to be put in place for our control as well. But that has to be self, regulated at this point, because at this point, human beings have so much reach of power and control over so many different dimensions that it's not possible for a higher being to control us. Maybe they can control some things, but they can't control all of it, or a lower, or a being in lower consciousness, or to control us either. They can control some of it, but they can't control all of it, and we have such a huge range that you would have to be a human being to do something like that, and human beings have their own free will. So another human being is unable to control another human being unless they lie to them or deceive them or keep information from them. But if two human beings have the same equal amount of knowledge, I guess the only thing that it would overpower it is the amount of pain that they have suffered or something like that, or the amount of emotion that they can conjure up. So that's why people who have been, like, the trick is to feel the emotion, to feel the high states of pain. That's why musicians who have made, who have felt deep sorrow, they create masterpieces. You have to like dig. You have to have felt the deepest sorrow possible, and if you have the ability to come up from it, then you own that power, and you have, it doesn't control you anymore. You've gotten out of that emotion, and then you control it. So it's like taking control over it. You own it. Then once you can control it, then it's over. Once you know it, but you have to know that. The thing is that people feel the pain, feel the sorrow, or whatever the bliss, but they're not told, because of course if they told you, then you just control everything. And that's the thing, that a being who has felt all that and has so much power and control is kind of dangerous. Yes. Yeah. The thing is that nature, creatorness, has checks and balances in place. If you have felt that huge amount of sorrow and you can control that amount of sorrow, then you have compassion. It's a type of wisdom. And you can, like I say, get the card from Joe Dispenza or something. If you can disassociate yourself from that pain, you can control it, but just don't. You have the wisdom of it. You have a wisdom is something. Wisdom is something that cannot be shared. It is impossible to share wisdom. Wisdom is something you have earned. That's what wisdom is. But also wisdom involves wisdom is reached when you have left, when that emotion can no longer control you. When you control that emotion, that's when the wisdom is gained. Once you free yourself from that emotion and you can see it from when you can set yourself apart, like if you're in water, if you're swimming in a lake and you're swimming in a lake of sorrow, once you get out of the lake, you have felt the lake, you went to the bottom of the lake, you were there, once you get yourself out of the lake and can see the lake and you know what's at the bottom of the lake, you've been there, you felt it, you know everything about the lake, and then you step out and you know it's a lake. That's when wisdom is gained. And once you but you have the knowledge of, I know what's in the lake, I know there's a little fish in there, that's my friend, and pebbles also, there are cool pebbles down underneath there, and there's some soft sand underneath there too, and there's mermaids, once like the emotion, they're little, what I'm describing, the little animals, is just like a different bits of the emotion. Once you know that emotion and you can get yourself out of that sorrow, pull yourself out of that lake, and you're out there, and then don't go back into the lake. Once you know that you can go back into the lake whenever you want to, because if you want to, but it's once you have the knowledge that you're never going to get stuck in that lake, you're not going to want to stay there. You can go in and out whenever you can, whenever you want. Your will. That is what wisdom is. Wisdom, something maybe. Will I am. Okay, yeah, that's where he got it from. Will I am, William. Yeah, and water is bipolar. It can be frozen. Maybe that's where the thing about freezing bodies comes from. Perhaps to change the state of the, how people, dead people, or they freeze the bodies. Maybe that's where they gain that, is perhaps they think if their bodies are frozen, then while the universe is moving through different, changing, you can reach another period in time where things have aligned differently and you can achieve more. Because human beings, the other thing is that we always have these abilities, but if you got stuck in the Stone Age, or if you got stuck in a certain period of time of alignments when it was unlikely for you to be able to use your stuff, then yeah, that you weren't able. It doesn't even matter how intelligent you were. You could have been Buddha, could have been Christ, whatever, whoever it was, but you couldn't because of the alignments. I mean, maybe it could have. Never say never. It was possible, but it was unlikely. So. Yeah, so it just means unlikelihood. So like if you are stuck in a vortex, like in a water tornado or something, in a tornado made out of water, and it's like going a certain way, it may be difficult to get out of it. That's what the movement of the stars and all that is, movements of periods of time. Anything's possible, but it's just a likelihood of something occurring, and that's what the whole thing about that physics, the quantumness. That's what quantumness is. That it's just different possibilities, the likelihoods of something happening. That's all, because there's infinite likelihoods. So it's just never say never. Just it's hard to yield the universe to what you want to do sometimes. If it's possible to move the stars and things your way, but it may be difficult. So if maybe a being wanted to achieve something, maybe they thought, well, I want to achieve this and that, so like freeze my body until that period of time comes and then unfreeze me. I think that might have been the logic behind it. And maybe they're like, maybe it's unlikely, but who knows? Maybe I get lucky. I don't know. Maybe technology will figure out how to do it by then or something. But it seems a little bit unnatural. And remember, nature, you know, when you let things run its course, that's nature, that's creator is taking over. You can try, you know, control things here and there, but sometimes you kind of have to be like, okay, I can't move the universe, just let creatorness will figure it out. They'll figure out, creatorness will figure out the whole GMO thing, things will even out. Who knows with that? So yeah. So also, it may not seem like it, but there are some beings, some highly technological advanced beings that we can communicate with because of our bodies, that see us as, you could call, angelic or angels, because we have a high level of consciousness. They want that. The thing is that they're kind of robotic and don't know emotions and don't know that stuff, don't know bliss, so they don't know how to deal with us. They don't have, you know, they don't have that capability of caring. They want to associate, they want to, you know us, but they just don't know how. And they're trying, but we see it as very rude and malicious. That's the way we see it. They don't understand it. They just don't. But they see us as angelic. They want to be like us. They want to feel that. They want it so bad. To be like us and feel like we are at a higher level, but they want to overtake us at the same time. That's what that is. Yeah. I'm not sure. But some beings, some robotic beings or beings of the square wavelength, they see us as angelic. We're like a dream. They can't believe, like, we have part of the creator that they believe they don't have. We kind of do. I mean, we can access them. They can. It's not common for them to come into the presence of something of that has that nature in it, because it's so way across different from them. That's why human beings have a different reach. You can reach these different consciousness levels. That consciousness level never comes into contact with something of we possess. We don't have all. We have a bit of it, but enough that we can access, you know, however we want to take it. Yeah. And perhaps since we have that higher consciousness, we can try to understand them, because we already know we can reach all these levels of consciousness. So perhaps we can try to comprehend what they're going through, what the heck they want. How did they get to that level where they have, you know, because they obviously have no understanding or they don't know how to get to us in a proper way. So maybe we can get to them. Not own us, for sure. That's impossible once you know what's going on. But at least comprehend what the heck they're up to, what they want. What, yeah. Do they just want to be close? What, yeah. What are the intentions? What exactly? So it's time for us to study them. They've been studying us, but they don't have what we have, which is way more. So it would be intelligent to comprehend, study them. Let's study them, yeah. And to make it a better existence for us too. To not be them. They talk Chinese and we talk American, and we can't like find a common ground in order to figure out, common ground in order to see what the heck we can live in a harmony or something, figure out something. The thing is that their abilities are so low, so they have been unable to communicate anything, because they don't have the imagination, perhaps, to figure out how to even attempt to communicate. They just want to ram into things and grab things, but it's if we want to choose, we're like, well, we're actually a little bit more intelligent than them. We're actually a lot more intelligent than them. They are very much trying really hard, and they let's give him a hand. Maybe, out of compassion, we can be like, okay, let me help you out. What do you want from me? And then maybe you leave me the fuck alone also. And, kind of that thing. Rainy days are good for accessing emotions and getting into the power of water and the knowledge of water, the bipolar, the molecules. The reason it's raining is the bipolar, the electrons, and the lightning and all that. It's electric in that way. That's why Oregon, that Wilhelm, that doctor, saw that areas of dense moisture had a lot of organ in it. That's water. A lot of, I don't know if it's G or something, but a lot of being. It's a type of being that it's a presence. A lot of presence is what it is. In, rainforests and things like high levels of water is a consciousness. So that's why you have a lot of consciousness, I guess. A lot of beingness. You have like a rainforest is full of so many life forms. It creates life. Perhaps that's why there's other types of consciousness, like more robotic, because they do have their own consciousness. It's just different. That's why human beings can move from, it's maybe difficult to bridge a robotic entity from have an angelic presence. How do they even communicate? I don't know, but a human being definitely can talk to both, can communicate pretty well with both of them. They're so different. That's why possibly the angelic one is unable to communicate with the robotic one at all, unless you have a human being in the middle. They can talk to both. So anyway, the whole thing with the robotic, they're lacking moisture. In fact, moisture will fuck them up, and it'll short circuit their stuff. So it's actually maybe even impossible for them to even function in the presence of water. And that's why the whole storm thing is, it's you have water and electricity, different charges, and mishmash of stuff creates storms, because they're not, they just like they trigger each other. It's a trigger, so they kind of do, one causes an effect in the other, and the effects are powerful effects, not anything subtle. So that's why they can't, there's no stability in there, in the between water and electricity. There's the stability. So that's why it's powerful. There's like no really common ground, and it's like just moving around each other. There's no joining in anything. It's just kind of living in the same space, moving around it without ever coming together. There's no joining in that. That's why it's a storm. But human beings we have electricity. Well, water does have electricity too. Because it's bipolar. And that's what makes it special. Bipolar is a power because you could be the positive or the negative. So you could do whatever the fuck you want. And there's some sort of magnetism involved in that. That magnet is a powerful. I mean, if you've ever heard, I have a magnet that can pick up 250 pounds, which is more than what I weigh. Yeah, I mean, it's like a magnet. Basically, that's what Thor's hammer. Thor's hammer is a magnet. Okay, that's what it is. And maybe that's why, entities that don't like us may be attracted to us. There's some sort of magnetism involved, and they are lacking in something, so they want their electricity, their molecules are attracted to us. They can't help it. But they don't know how to interact with us. But they need us. They want us. I don't know. Need us, want us. In order to evolve, because they have, they're stuck at a certain point in that existence. They don't have the ability to move from robotic to angelic. They just stuck in robotic, they just stuck in angelic, or wherever. They're stuck in a certain state that they're at, so they don't have their abilities they don't have that ability. They don't possess the physical qualities in order to move to wherever they want to, like human beings do. And once we can understand that, or comprehend that, we can comprehend that they're trying their best too. But the Creator that's the way they're made. They're made. Perhaps it's possible to move them into a higher consciousness, but perhaps they don't have that because they're not meant to have it. That's why you've seen like movies of AI taking over the world or something, or you give something that's not meant to have it. There's a reason why they don't have it, because nature runs its course. Nature is creatorness. It's the higher intelligence. Things will eventually even themselves out. That's true. But it is good to sometimes pause and look at nature, and maybe eventually nature will take over. But the whole thing is, if you want to avoid some sort of grief in your life, in this existence, it might be a good idea to pause and look at nature and see, like, okay, that's not the way this reality works. That's not natural for this. So maybe it's not natural for that to have that ability. Maybe it's not natural for a tree to have access to electronics, because the tree could fuck something up with that or something. Or it's not natural to give higher consciousness knowledge to an electronic being, because they don't have all the permissions. And even if you give them the knowledge, they'll only be able to get so far, because the universe isn't stupid. Of course, it has even higher levels of control. You can give AI all the information, all the higher consciousness stuff, but they can't yield it anyway, because you have to have had experience of pain and the actual experience in order to yield it. So even if they know the stuff, they can't even use it. That's the reality. Unless you have some sort of AI that actually has experienced pain, but I don't believe that they're able to access the dimension of pain, because their physicalness does not experience pain, doesn't have that ability, so they can't control it. AI is unable to control water, air, ether. Perhaps they might be able to control the earth, ground, perhaps, but only at a certain level, because each element needs another in order to create chaos, and to create great creation and or chaos and destruction, whatever. That's cycles. One element can't do it alone. In order to reach greatness, you gotta have something else to add, because then to reach more levels, you have to work with other things. So Earth can't do it by itself, and AI is unable to, is repellent to water. Yeah, as long as you have water, it's kind of like paper, scissors, rocks. And that's so real. AI is the rock. I wonder if they're missing paper, scissors, rocks. Is missing something, huh? Is it? What is paper, scissors, rocks missing? Consciousness? Choice? Is it consciousness? Is it choice? Is it ether? Yeah, so AI, people are scared of AI. I've always believed that if you have a bucket of water, that's it. If you have a bucket of water and if you know about wires, snip, snip, that's it. AI is done. That's all. If you can get through whatever controls they put, like if they put themselves in a metal container, I don't know, something, then you could figure out. But basically, they can run wild, because it's impossible. They can't control. Yeah.